Commander Rylan had been on many planets, but none felt as strange as the crystal dominion. The palace halls shimmered like frozen sunlight, the floors hummed softly under his boots, and every corner felt alive, watching him, studying him. But what bothered him most was not the alien palace. It was the feeling that someone was watching him the entire time. He noticed it the first night when he entered his assigned quarters. The door closed behind him with a soft hiss, and for a moment, the room lights flickered like a heartbeat. He felt a presence, quiet, nervous, but close. Too close. When he turned around, the room was empty. Rylan told himself it was just travel stress. The Dominion was famous for its telepathic atmosphere, maybe he was simply adjusting. But the feeling stayed the next day, and the next. The palace guards acted normal. The servants bowed politely. The council members spoke in calm, emotionless tones. But someone else, someone unseen, followed him everywhere. He could feel it. It was like soft eyes hidden behind curtains. Like a breath that never reached his skin. Like someone trying to approach him, but stopping at the last second. On the fourth night, something new happened. Rylan woke from a light sleep and found a glowing crystal on the floor outside his door. It was small, warm, and pulsed with a shy, gentle light, almost like it carried a heartbeat. He picked it up, confused. Who left this? The palace corridors were silent. No footsteps, no shadows. But the crystal glowed brighter the moment he held it. Almost as if it was responding to him. Rylan's instincts went alert. Someone had been here. Someone had been close. Someone had been watching. And now, they were trying to send a message. Later that morning, during a diplomatic briefing, Rylan noticed something unusual. One of the servants kept glancing toward the balcony above them, nervous, almost fearful. Rylan followed her gaze but saw no one. "Is everything all right?" he asked. The servant froze for a moment, then nodded quickly. "Yes, Commander. Everything is fine." But her voice trembled. When the meeting ended, Rylan stayed behind. He moved to the balcony stairs and climbed quietly. The balcony was empty, yet the air felt charged, thick with unspoken emotion. A faint scent lingered there, soft and sweet, like alien blossoms. Someone had stood here recently. Someone who did not want to be seen. That evening, Rylan asked one of the guards directly. "Is the royal family avoiding humans?" The guard hesitated. He chose his words slowly. "The princess, she is shy. She does not meet outsiders. She has never spoken to a human." "Then why do I feel her watching me?" Rylan asked. The guard stiffened. "We did not say she is watching you." Which meant, she probably was. The guard continued in a lower voice, as if afraid the walls themselves might hear. "The princess is powerful. Her emotions can affect the palace. We hope she is not reaching out." "Reaching out?" Rylan frowned. But the guard bowed and left before he could ask more. That night, things became even stranger. As Rylan walked through the gardens, the floating lanterns, magical crystals suspended in the air, shifted and moved with him. They formed a soft glowing path guiding him forward. He stepped carefully, following the lights through the tall silver plants. The air was warm, humming with a low melodic vibration. The palace gardens were supposed to feel peaceful, but tonight the atmosphere felt nervous, emotional. The lanterns stopped near a tall crystal arch. And behind the arch, he saw movement. Not a guard. Not a servant. Someone thin, graceful, and glowing faintly with soft blue light. Rylan stopped breathing for a moment. It was her. Even though he had never seen the princess, he knew instantly. Something about the air changed, heavy, electric, trembling. She was partly hidden behind the pillar, only half her face visible. Large eyes. Soft, glowing skin. A look of fear and longing mixed together. She was staring at him. Rylan took one careful step forward. She disappeared instantly, like a light fading out. The lanterns flickered in confusion, then dimmed. Rylan stood alone again, unsure if she had really been there or if the palace itself was teasing him. But deep down, he knew. The princess was real. And she had been watching him all along. When he returned to his quarters later, he found something else waiting for him, a second crystal, slightly bigger, glowing with soft pink light. It was warm, and the warmth spread up his arm and into his chest the moment he touched it. A whisper echoed faintly in the back of his mind. Not a word. Just a feeling. Fear. Curiosity. Hope. Rylan's heart pounded. Someone was trying to speak to him through emotions. Someone who was too shy to approach, but too overwhelmed to stay away. Someone who was losing control. The next morning, Rylan met with the palace scholars to discuss the upcoming treaty. But he kept noticing odd details. The lights brightened when he spoke. The air warmed when he smiled. The crystal walls shimmered whenever his thoughts drifted toward the princess. Finally, one of the scholars sighed. You have felt her presence, haven't you? Rylan straightened. So it is the princess. She does not speak with words, the scholar said. Her species communicates through emotion fields. If she tries to talk to you, it means she is struggling. Struggling with what? With herself. Those words made Rylan pause. The scholar continued nervously. Her emotions are powerful. If she cannot control them, the entire palace may feel the effects. And if she forms a bond with you without meaning to. He didn't finish the sentence. Rylan felt uneasy. Was he dangerous to her? Or was she dangerous to him? Either way, it was too late. Something was already happening. That night, the palace was quiet, too quiet. Even the humming crystals seemed to hold their breath. Rylan tried to sleep, but he felt the presence again. Stronger now. Closer. Like someone standing right outside his mind. A soft emotional pulse touched him. Loneliness. Fear. Desire to be seen. He sat up, breathing hard. And then. A voice, soft as starlight, whispered inside his head. Please, don't go. Rylan froze. The princess wasn't watching anymore. She was reaching directly into his thoughts. And she was desperate. Rylan stood and walked toward the door. His hand shook slightly as he opened it. The hallway was empty. But the air shimmered as if someone invisible had run away only seconds before. And at his feet, a third glowing crystal waited for him. This one pulsed like a living heart. Rylan picked it up and whispered into the empty hall. Princess, what do you want from me? The answer came in a trembling emotional wave. She wanted him to stay. She wanted him to understand. And she was getting closer, much closer. And Rylan realized something chilling. This had only just begun. The palace felt different the next morning. Commander Rylan sensed it the moment he stepped into the central hall. The air was warmer. The walls glowed a soft lavender. Servants walked quickly, whispering to each other with worried eyes. Even the guards looked tense, their helmets flickering with tiny static sparks. Something had changed. And he had a feeling he knew why. Last night, the princess had spoken directly into his mind. Not words, emotions. A plea. A call for help. Please, don't go. Those three emotional notes still echoed inside him, soft but heavy. He couldn't ignore them. Rylan was heading toward the council chamber when he noticed the lanterns again. The floating orbs of crystal moved on their own, drifting down the hallway like they were guiding him. But they weren't guiding him forward this time. They were guiding him back. Back to his quarters. Back to her. Rylan stopped walking. He watched the lanterns hover and pulse, as if urging him. A young servant saw him hesitate and immediately bowed, nervous. Commander, maybe you should stay inside today. Why? Rylan asked. The servant licked her lips, terrified to even say it. The princess, her emotions are unstable today. The whole palace is reacting. As she spoke, a sudden vibration shook the hallway. The floor hummed. A wave of soft blue light rushed across the ceiling like a heartbeat. Ryland felt it hit his chest. A pulse of emotion. Fear. Confusion. Longing. It wasn't coming from him. It was coming from her. Ryland followed the glowing lanterns back toward his room, though every instinct told him this was not a simple invitation. This was a cry for help. Halfway there, he saw a group of scholars rushing through the hall. One carried a shimmering scanning device, another clutched a glowing book of crystal inscriptions. "What's happening?" Ryland asked. One scholar looked up at him with pale, tired eyes. "The princess. She is losing her balance." Ryland frowned. "Her emotional balance?" "Yes," the scholar whispered. "Her feelings are too strong today. When she cannot hold them in, the palace feels everything she feels." Another soft vibration rushed through the corridor. The lights dimmed. A cold shiver ran down Ryland's spine. "What caused this?" he asked. "You," the scholar said without hesitation. Ryland went still. "Me?" "She tried to reach out to you. To connect. But she is young, and shy, and untrained in controlling emotional bonds." The scholar stepped closer, voice shaking. "She is drawn to you. And she cannot stop herself anymore." Ryland reached his room. The hallway outside was strangely silent, as if wrapped in a thick emotional fog. The lanterns floated in a circle around his door, pulsing with slow, gentle light. The council had warned him once. If the princess gets too close, a telepathic link might form. A link neither of them could break. Ryland took a breath and opened his door. He stopped instantly. The room was filled with soft blue light. The air buzzed like a quiet storm. Floating crystals hovered above the floor, spinning slowly, glowing with her emotions. A gift? A warning? A message? He stepped inside carefully. And then he felt her. Not physically, emotionally. A presence behind him. Soft. Nervous. Overwhelming. He turned. The princess stood in the doorway. She was taller than he expected, slim and graceful, her skin glowing with faint silver patterns that pulsed with each breath she took. Her large eyes, bright, trembling, full of fear and emotion, watched him like he was the only real thing in the world. She didn't speak. She couldn't. Her species rarely used words. Their whole language lived in emotion. And right now her emotions were pouring out of her, heavy waves rolling toward him. Fear. Shyness. Desire to understand. Desire to be understood. And something else. Something deeper. Dangerously deep. She took one step forward, then stopped, shaking slightly. Her hands were pressed together like she was afraid to reach out. Ryland raised his palms slowly, to show he wasn't afraid. "It's okay," he said softly. "I'm not going anywhere." Immediately, the crystals in the room brightened. Her emotions surged, too fast, too strong. The princess shut her eyes, trying to contain the wave. But she couldn't. A sudden pulse of pure emotion hit Ryland's mind like a warm, powerful wind. He staggered but stayed standing. She gasped quietly, horrified at what she had done. He steadied himself and spoke gently. "You're not hurting me." Her eyes opened wide, surprised. A soft glow spread across her cheeks. For her species, that glow was the same as blushing. The palace suddenly trembled, as if reacting to her emotional outburst. A humming sound rose through the walls. In the hallway, Ryland heard guards shouting. A scholar appeared at the doorway, panicked. "Princess! You must calm down. You are affecting the whole palace." The princess flinched, her eyes filling with fear. The glow around her flickered wildly. The scholar turned to Ryland. "You must step away from her. You are the trigger. You make her emotions stronger." But Rylan didn't move. He looked at the princess, really looked. She was scared of herself. Scared of hurting others. Scared of being close to him. She stepped back, breathing hard, like she might run again. But something held her in place. Her fingers trembled as she looked at Rylan, begging him for something she didn't know how to ask for. Connection. Understanding. Help. If I leave her now, Rylan said quietly, she will lose control completely. The scholar hesitated. Commander. I'm staying. The princess froze. Then her glow softened just a little. The emotional storm paused. She took a slow, hesitant step toward him. 1 step. 2 steps. 3. Now she stood only 1 arm's length away. The entire palace seemed to stop breathing. Rylan felt her emotions reach out to him again, gentle this time, desperate to calm. He lifted his hands slowly. The princess didn't pull away. She leaned forward slightly, her forehead glowing brighter. Then a violent shockwave blasted through the palace. A wave of raw emotion exploded from her chest, knocking the scholars off their feet. The lanterns shattered into tiny floating sparks. The entire hallway shook like thunder. Rylan felt the emotional burst slam into him. Fear. Pain. Longing. Loneliness. Hope. All at once. The princess cried out softly, not with voice, but through pure emotion. Her entire body shook. She clutched her chest, overwhelmed. She was losing control. And she was losing control because of him. Rylan acted. He reached forward and caught her hands gently. The moment he touched her, the emotional wave froze midair. The princess's glow changed from chaotic blue to soft pink. Her eyes widened in shock. The bond had strengthened. Stabilized. She wasn't alone anymore. The scholars stared, speechless. Even the palace walls seemed to relax. The princess breathed out slowly, trembling but calmer. Her emotions settled like quiet rain. She looked up at Rylan, really looked, her eyes shining with raw relief. For the first time, she formed a clear emotional phrase. Thank you. Rylan squeezed her hands gently. It's all right. I'm here. But deep inside, he felt something new, something heavy. This connection was growing faster than anyone had expected. And if it continued, neither of them might be able to break it. The palace did not return to normal after the princess stabilized. If anything, the air grew heavier. The crystal walls glowed faint blue, reacting to her bond with Commander Rylan. Each time she breathed, the light pulsed. Each time he looked at her, the floor hummed softly, like the palace itself felt their connection. It was no longer subtle. It was no longer hidden. Everyone could feel it. The scholars stayed far away, whispering in fear. Guards avoided the corridor. No one dared to step close to her or him. Because now they understood. The princess had chosen him. And the bond was growing fast. Rylan did not let go of her hands until she stopped shaking completely. Her glow faded into a soft, peaceful pink. Her eyes were still wide with emotion, but she wasn't collapsing anymore. The princess looked down at their hands, confused and fascinated. She lifted her fingers slowly, touching the back of his hand like she was studying something precious. Her emotions touched him again. Warmth. Safety. Relief. Hope. Rylan swallowed. He wasn't trained to handle an alien emotional link, but he couldn't pull away. She needed him. A scholar finally stepped forward, voice trembling. Commander, the bond is too strong. If it continues increasing at this speed, the entire planetary core may react. Rylan frowned. What does that mean? The scholar's face went pale. Her species is directly connected to the planet's energy grid. If she loses control again, the planet could suffer a system collapse. Rylan looked at the princess. She understood every word through emotion, not speech. Fear flashed across her face. The walls reacted instantly, flickering with unstable light. Ryland squeezed her hands gently. "Hey," he said softly. "Look at me. It's all right." Her eyes snapped back to him. Just that tiny action calmed her more than anything the scholars had tried. The scholar shook his head in disbelief. "She reacts only to him." The council demanded Ryland attend an urgent meeting. The princess didn't want to let go of him. When he stepped away, her glow dimmed, and the room trembled as if the palace itself protested. Ryland turned back, meeting her worried eyes. "I'll come back," he promised. She tilted her head, confused, struggling to understand words. So he held his chest and pointed to her, then pointed to the ground, to show he wasn't leaving the palace. Her emotions softened. She understood. She let him go. But only barely. In the council chamber, the air was thick with tension. 12 alien elders sat around a floating crystal table, their expressions serious. An elder spoke in a heavy voice. "Commander Ryland. The princess has formed a bond with you. This bond is rare and dangerous." Ryland kept calm. She didn't choose it. She needed help. "Yes," another elder said. "But now that the bond exists, you are her emotional anchor." Ryland frowned. "Meaning?" "Meaning," the elder said slowly, "you cannot leave her side without causing instability in the palace and possibly the entire planet." Ryland stiffened. "So you're saying I'm trapped here?" "We are saying," the elder corrected, "that she will suffer greatly if you try to separate." Another crystal light flickered overhead. The table vibrated. A new voice spoke from behind Ryland. "She is already walking toward your quarters." Ryland turned sharply. "What?" "She feels your fear," the elder said. "She believes you are in danger." Ryland didn't waste time. He ran out of the chamber. Behind him, the council whispered fears of emotional storms, palace collapses, and ancient warnings, but he didn't care. He ran to her. When he reached his room, he froze in shock. The princess stood in the hallway glowing brightly, dangerously, her silver patterns flickering like lightning. The walls around her shook. Crystals cracked. Sparks ran across the floor. She was losing control again. The moment she saw him, the storm inside her broke free. A wave of raw emotion rushed toward him, fear that he would leave her, fear that she would be alone again, fear that she had done something wrong. Her knees buckled. Ryland didn't hesitate. He ran forward and caught her before she fell. Her hands grabbed his shoulders with surprising strength. Her forehead pressed against his chest, glowing hot with emotion. The palace lights flickered. The halls trembled. The air whispered with her thoughts. "Stay. Stay. Stay." Ryland wrapped his arms around her carefully, not tight, but steady enough to anchor her. "I'm here," he said. "I'm not leaving you." Her emotional waves softened instantly. The palace walls steadied. The light dimmed to a soft pink, like calming breath. The princess lifted her head slowly, her eyes shimmering with tears she couldn't cry. She touched her forehead to his, creating a direct emotional link. It was like an entire world opened. Ryland saw flashes of her life. A lonely childhood inside crystal halls. A strict council who never let her speak freely. Years of fear that her emotions would destroy everything. Years of silence. Years of hiding. And then, him. The human who didn't run. The human who wasn't afraid. The human who helped her breathe. Her next emotional message was clearer than any word. "With you. I am not afraid." Ryland felt the bond tighten, not painful, but powerful. Like two minds touching for the first time. But then, the palace alarms blared. Crystals turned red. The floor rumbled violently. Ryland held her tighter. "What's happening?" A scholar ran down the hall, shouting. "The core is activating." Her emotional surge is triggering the planet's energy network. The princess gasped, shaking her head, terrified of herself. Rylan grabbed her face gently, forcing her to look at him. Hey! Look at me. Focus on me. Her eyes locked on his. The palace froze. The tremors stopped mid-shake. The alarms quieted. She breathed in. He breathed out. Their rhythms synced. A soft, warm light rose from her skin, calm, controlled, centered. Her emotions stabilized. The planet stabilized. And the palace released a long, soft hum of relief. Silence filled the hall. The scholars stared in disbelief. The princess leaned against Ryland's chest, exhausted but peaceful. Her glow returned to that gentle pink. He stroked her back slowly. It's all right, he whispered. You're all right. She looked up at him with soft, trusting eyes, and then she did something no one in the Dominion had ever seen. She spoke a real word. A small, shy, trembling word. Rylan. His breath caught. The scholars froze. The guards bowed in shock. She had never spoken anyone's name before. Not even her own. The council arrived moments later. They bowed deeply. Commander, the princess has chosen you as her emotional anchor, the elder announced. Her bond with you is complete. Rylan looked down at her. She held onto him gently, glowing with quiet certainty. What does that mean? He asked. It means, the elder said, you cannot leave this planet. The princess tightened her grip, afraid he might try to pull away. Rylan looked at her soft, glowing face. And he already knew his answer. He wasn't leaving. Not now. Not ever. Because she wasn't just the silent princess anymore. She was his princess. And she had come to him.